This is the old dirty basement, home to debauchery, madness, murder, and mayhem. A terror-filled train ride deep into the depths of the devil's den.
With a little bit of humor,
history,
and copious consciousness.
I'm your announcer, Shallow Throat. Your hosts are Dave, Matt, and Zap. I love you, Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
hey, this is Dave,
Matt,
And Zap.
and welcome to the old dirty basement.
where every week we cover a true crime.
Murder,
Or compelling story.
So sit back.
relax.
And comprehend.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Old Dirty Basement. I'm Matt. With me always is Dave and Zap. I think we're going into part two of something here.
Part two.
Yeah, a long overdue part due.
Yeah. This is a juicy one, man. Good one.
It is. I didn't expect it to be as long as it is, but I guess, when you get into something like this, it's going to take that kind of time for us to uncover every rock and see what's under there.
It's what Miss Elizabeth Holmes and
Miss Elizabeth Holmes and her company Theranos.
yes,
Yeah.
Part due. So, just to bring everybody up to speed, in our last episode, we discussed the upbringing of Miss Holmes. She was, we talked about everything from her birth to her stellar high school career. She kind of was on her own there, moved around a lot, but didn't have many friends, but she had friends in books and she had an incredible imagination. Let's see. Oh, she became fluent in Mandarin, spent her summer between high school and college. She spent that over in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Beijing. She spent it in Beijing, and that's where she met this dude, Sonny Balwani.
bow on me some Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah,
He did,
right.
man. This guy left his old lady.
Yeah.
I can't say, so it does beg the question, was Elizabeth the impetus for them divorcing?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
you would think.
Or was it already love on the rocks?
And did you mention the 19 years her elder?
19 years her
19 years
elder.
her elder.
Robbing that cradle, chasing that butt.
Yeah.
So she was, of course, accepted to Stanford, went into chemical engineering. However, her work, after her freshman year, she worked over in Singapore in their genome labs. And it was there that things just started clicking for her. She said, well, look, there's this, everybody's using this old tech. I want to have a one-stop shop. I think it can be done more efficiently, more effectively, and more expediently by virtue of if there was only this thing we had that could just do it all. She, in her brain, and she started filing for patents for a device that could not only perform the tests, not only adjust the dosage of drug delivery, but also have those results automatically by virtue of the wireless internet. The magical world of telecommunications send all these results to the patient's doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Let's see. Dropped out of school. So with all this in mind now, she dropped out of college. In her almost finished her sophomore year, dropped out in March of her sophomore year. Ended up recruiting her one of her old professors and mentors to work at Theranos with her. Started then from there, it's like, all right, look, we need startup capital. Let's get this going. That professor of hers had the connections to some venture capitalists. Started to grow little by little by little. She started, from there, she started to build the board. She needed a good, reputable board. She got a list of, some heavy hitters in the political world, the diplomatic world, the corporate world.
Who's who?
The who's who, like a really incredible list of board members on, which of course gives the company clout. Also relationships, also just the sky's the limit. Started landing some deals with some big drug manufacturers, GlaxoSmithKline, Pfizer. From there, got some additional investment. This is now, I guess, second round of investors. This is the private equity investors coming out of some big names like the Cox family, Rupert Murdoch, and the Walton family.
It's like a Shark Tank on steroids.
It is.
It's just so much investment, and
It really is.
You're like, I'll give you $150 million. You're like, okay.
because on there they're like, I'll give you 500,000.
Yeah.
Like for a
To
company.
start, yeah. But I want 35% of that and
they'll be
your
like-
top 2 years earnings.
Yeah.
And
I want to own your business,
Yeah.
basically.
We get 92% of the.
Yeah.
Dude, I always watch that. Dude, I'm telling you, I watch that show and I love to see the ideas that come across. But man, it is in fact the Shark Tank because you come with this idea and they are going to gobble it up.
Oh, absolutely.
Look, we'll give you the money to do it, but thanks for the idea. I'm basically going to take over your company.
Yeah, it's my idea now.
You know
Thank
what?
you.
You know what? Though, in their defense, though, that they can take it to that next level that you
100%.
that you're probably, but they're going to get paid for, it, and that's why they're rich.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You get there not by being. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but you're usually cutthroat.
Well, that goes back to which I don't think Zap ever agrees with.
Nah, you
but
don't
in order
like
to
that.
make that kind of money, you're doing crooked shit. Somewhere along the line, something's happening where you're like,
Somebody's getting screwed.
yeah.
It's a matter of choices. It's just
It's a thin line.
It is forever a matter of choices. Now look at where we're at. Right? I don't want to go off on too far of a tangent, but let's look where we're at. Right, like so we all have, just call it your standard decent 9-to-5 jobs, right? So just typical middle class. That's where we're at. You know, when we were kids, we talked about wanting to be astronauts or policemen or doctors or you name it. Like
The only 4 jobs you knew as a kid.
That's right. So you had these aspirations, and let's say, well, Elizabeth Holmes here, her aspiration was to be a billionaire. All right, so good for her. Now let's say the 3 of us over the course of our lives, we've made choices. Every day it's a different choice. Fork in the road. I'm either going to do this or I'm going to do that. Then that's going to spiderweb into, well, then the next time I'm going to do this or that based on this. And it just keeps going and going and going. Every day is full of so many choices, yeses or nos. We ended up over the course of those years making X number of choices that here's where we are. Here's what we're doing. Elizabeth, she made every choice that she wanted to make that got her to the point of, I want to be a billionaire. And for damn sure, she was a fucking billionaire.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because she dropped out of college in, 2002, 2003?
Mm-hmm. So early 2015, she was named the youngest self-made billionaire. So if that's what you're trying
8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
You're talking about, that's
By early 2014, that company had a valuation of $10 billion, and in early 2015, that's right. And so that's where it takes us now. So they had operated so long for so much under the radar. Finally, she gets featured in a Forbes article, having landed all of these things. I mean, it's really coming out now. She's just now hitting the scene that in 2015, Forbes names her the youngest self-made female billionaire, having a net worth of $4.5 billion.
Yeah, to hit that level. So just think if she would have went to Stanford, did like the basic courses, just went into business somewhere. Like, what do you think an income, like a normal income would be for somebody at Stanford, with a degree?
250 to 300.
I was going to say, yeah, Matt's about right on 250, 300 some.
Right. So that's just your person that doesn't ruffle any feathers. I'm just going to go do the standard.
Yeah, do a job
work
here with my Stanford diploma.
But to take it to that next level, you really got to go that extra mile. And
it is infrequent. So you're going to hear of the concepts of CEOs or CFOs or COOs. Like there are certainly for any big business, you got, you're going to call them employees, which is truly what, your CEO, your high level, your executive management. They're
basically boards.
They are employees, right? They're certainly employees. You will certainly have those that make a good amount of money, absolutely a good amount of money. But to make real money, you need to own your own business.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
That's the only way you're going to know that you can make it, because you're the one that's in control of it. It's all what you make of it. Either be lazy and, just let it ride, or run for that money every day.
Be your own boss.
But even that, going from like what
it's
you're
risky
talking,
as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
you can lose everything. But going from a millionaire status, so we're like, oh, that guy's a millionaire, but you're talking B's now. The billionaire status is where, and Forbes magazine, that's where you're noticed. People are looking at you like, okay, this is a person to deal with.
Yeah.
This is a baller in the game.
Right.
Yeah. She's definitely got some.
Yeah.
I think with that voice of hers, she might have at least one ball in the game.
She is a baller.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's a deep voice. Again, instant sensation. Instant sensation. All right. Well, picking up where we left off, in my humble opinion, I think they should have stayed under the radar. 2015 would prove to be somewhat of a challenging year for Theranos, to say the least. So early in the year, there were 2 separate instances of collegiate professors that were crying foul play. So again, out of nowhere came this company. They had been operating under the radar 10 years, right? Call it ballpark 10 years. Out of nowhere, this company this broad is featured in Forbes. Theranos. They have this great tech. They do all of this stuff. They can do incredible things. The people that aren't working with it, right? The collegiate people, the people that are, hell, other service providers, your Quest Diagnostics, or even Siemens that are making other the equipment that enables Quest to do what they do.
These are people with like they have a knowledge of the inner workings of all this, and probably can call bullshit. Is what you're saying? Right?
Indeed, exactly that. So one of the guys that called bullshit is a guy by the name of John Ioannidis.
That's fun to say.
Yeah,
that's fun to say. Oh, what was Francisco?
Francisco.
That's
I
fun
like
to say.
I like Ioannidis.
Yeah. So John Ioannidis, he was of all places, Stanford professor. He penned a letter to the Journal of the American Medical Association calling out Theranos for not having had any of its research peer-reviewed, which is true. Again, there's no FDA. There's no bullshit. This is just some magical shit they're dropping on the market that they've sold it to Walgreens, or they've sold whatever. They've sold the contract, the ability to provide service to Walgreens, Safeway. They're doing lab work for GlaxoSmithKline and Pfizer.
See, this wouldn't by the book guys, though. They always ruin everything for everybody. Stay. If it's not hurting you in any way, why do you need to get involved?
Matt, I'm with you. This is basically a hater.
It's the way you try to teach your kids in like grade school. You're like, look, if it's not bothering you in any way or hurting you, or just stay out of it. It's not a big deal.
Yep. This hater, this John Ioannidis, came out and said, well, shit, basically, Matt, exactly what you said. I don't understand your tech. I don't understand how that can do. It's impossible.
right.
You guys must be bullshit. It must be.
Or it's a way to just get your name in the paper or name out there.
There is
criticized.
Well, there's nothing better to feed the ego of any elite professor or whatever to be published.
Yes, that's what they want to do, is be published.
Yeah, then to be published in, let's say, the AMA journal or anything like that, the Harvard Review, you name it. Then there was this other dude, Eleftherios Diamantis.
So much fun.
Both Greeks, by the way.
I have a suit jacket. That guy.
Yeah, he makes shoes with metal tips on them.
Hell with the Brutinis.
That's right.
How about the Diamantis?
Yeah, Eleftherios Diamantis. He was a professor for the University of Toronto. He penned an article.
God damn Canadians.
God damn it. Thanks, Canada.
Where do you see your new tariffs, Canada?
Hell yeah. You can keep your fucking trees.
Yeah, we don't need your sap.
That's right.
Maple syrup.
Keep the syrup. So he penned an article in the Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medical Journal. Medicine Journal. Claiming that Theranos' tech couldn't possibly do what it claimed to do. Now, he claimed that, again, the same thing as Ioannidis. Despite not having any access to this tech, he's just calling out saying it's fucking impossible.
Without even having hands-on.
That's right.
It. One thing, though, for sure, they were, with their technology and their patents and everything, they were very, played it close to the vest. They went, they had employees signing non-disclosure, you cannot talk about this, and we'll get into that later, I'm sure.
Well, that's like any business now these days.
But they were over the top with it.
Yeah.
There was some shit that went on that was
So something like this proprietary information is a really significant fucking thing, right? I mean, this is like she, let's harken back to her childhood. Dave, you were apt to point out in last episode that she, as a kid, had come up with this idea for a time machine, right? So obviously that doesn't exist, and it's we don't have that tech. But
it was the same one used in Napoleon Dynamite.
If only.
I've been on the internet. It doesn't
colander.
work.
Yeah, she actually sold 6 of those.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hurts.
Yeah,
hurts. So they have this tech, and for damn sure they don't want any of it getting out. Not at all. It's not unlike creating a time machine. You create a time machine, right? And you got people working for you making time machine.
You don't want them to go off.
You don't want that shit leaking out.
No.
You want to be the only one that's doing that. It's essentially what these guys were doing. We have this magical technology. Nobody else has it, and nobody else is ever going to have it.
And plus, their machines weren't commercially available at this point, correct? So it's not a lot of times you'll release something and then people will buy it and take it apart, break it down. How are they doing this?
Reverse engineer. Sure. China does that to America all the time.
All the time, right.
Russia did that with our nuclear tech. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
Did you see the machine? Picture of it? What's it called? The Einstein? I think it was the first one.
No, the Edison.
Edison. I'm sorry, the
Thomas
Edison. Yeah, it was that girl that she brought over from Apple. It was sleek. They wanted it to look like an iPhone.
Yeah.
So it had actually they kind of modeled it after the first or one of the Mac computers with a not horizontal, but like an angled line breaking up the two colors on it. It was a cool looking machine.
Yep, it was.
Whether it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. And so we talk about these contracts and whatever that Theranos had gotten into with these other companies, again, the providers or the service delivery people. They're selling it every single one of their pitches. What do you want it to look like? Right. We can make it look like anything you want to. They're almost overselling. Like, you pick. Do you want a different color?
Yeah.
Do you want it this shape? Do you want to have this kind of interaction with it? Do you want it a digital? Do you want it manual? How do you want it? No matter what, we can make the box look like whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, it was like probably like a shoebox size box, I believe, and then the card that you would put was like credit card size, and that's how it would read. You would leave the blood sample on the credit card thing and like swipe it almost like a credit card.
That was a version, and the other version looked like I don't want to say a desktop computer, but like a tower. It looked like a computer.
Like an Xbox, the tall version.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, again, like the old towers where you had a CD-ROM driver, you had a floppy drive or whatever. So essentially like the CD-ROM thing bay
popped out, I got you.
would open up.
Yeah, like
and you drop this. Yep, and you drop. Matt, I wish that the listeners could see the demonstration you just did.
And button, then it comes out like that.
It was exactly that.
Transformer.
And so you drop the John in there and it goes back in. Mm-hmm. And it does its magical things in this box and it comes out with all of these results almost, I don't want to say in real time, but pretty quickly. And then it's sent off to wherever and you're good to go.
Magic.
Well, a month later, after these two haters are publishing in their respective periodicals that they don't believe this, despite the fact of having not seen it, they just can't believe it's true. A month later, Diamandis' alerts and findings made their way to the Business Insider. So Business Insider says, wait a second, hey Theranos, you've got your peers out there saying that you're not sharing your tech, or nobody can corroborate what you're saying. Hell, even your customers can't corroborate what you're saying.
Right.
Well, this creates bad press. Bad press is bad for business. Fortunately, with that board, let's not forget that board that these guys have, which again includes
a lot of
former secretaries of state, former CEOs, former United States senators, former secretaries of defense, former Navy admiral, former Marine generals. I mean, you've got a stellar board. With that kind of connection, they're going to need to call in some favors.
Yeah.
So after this bad press, almost immediately after the bad press, in July 2015, just 1 month after that the damning article came out, Holmes invited then Vice President Joe Biden to visit and tour their manufacturing facility in Newark, California.
He thought he was at like a ball field or something.
Yeah. Is this Universal, man?
He thought it was a baseball game.
Is this Epcot?
It wasn't hard to pull the wool over his eyes.
He was impressed, very impressed. And he went on to sing the praises of Theranos' operation. I mean, I think there was a presser. There would have had to have been. Mm-hmm. When you own a company and you have the Vice President of the United States visit your business, you for damn sure are going to put out a press release.
There's a lot of people there. He's answering questions, saying how great it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, mischief managed. Good for them. In fact, thanks to that, to alleviate any other would-be fears, that same month, Theranos inked a deal with Central Pennsylvania's own Capital Blue Cross to be its lab work provider and provide its testing capabilities at Capital Blue Cross's retail space in Enola, Pennsylvania.
How about that?
I have been to that.
Stone's throw from here.
Is that up in the plaza there, or where is that?
Take 81 south, get off the Wurtsville Road exit.
Oh, over there. Technology Parkway.
By the train tracks.
Ish. Yeah. Oh, shit. It's in the same plaza as Members First corporate headquarters.
Yes, okay.
It's right there. It's at the end of a strip mall next to a Giant.
Okay, yep. I know where you're at.
That place is obnoxious.
It is.
Yeah.
It is obnoxious. Wait. What's obnoxious?
the Members First, the facility there.
The big building.
Yeah, the building.
I've been in. It is obnoxious. I thought you were going to talk about the traffic.
No, the traffic's obnoxious also. Yes. But that whole area there is, big corporate
big buildings. And
Dude, not for nothing, that Members First headquarters, it's pretty baller inside.
It is baller. I like the veranda area with like the shea lounges.
Oh my God, yeah. It's incredible in there. It's absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful.
It is
look,
very nice.
Let's not forget. I'm sorry. Let's. I'll call a spade and say it's an incredible waste of space. But I mean, in the banking business, if you want to impress customers, you got to act the part, and they got it. I mean, Members First. Kudos for looking as good as you do.
Mm-hmm.
They put their members first
after they build their building.
After they build the building.
Yeah. So I mean, that's neat to. If nothing else, it's neat to have that own little hometown touch there. That they sold this to our own Pennsylvania Capital Blue Cross.
You're right here in Central PA.
That's right.
Providing jobs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, alas. Good old Sleepy Joe's praises, while relatively credible at the time, as we had said, he was still kind of there, could not stop what is called a whistleblower. Are you guys familiar with whistleblowers?
Oh, yeah.
They're all over the government.
Absolutely.
Really?
Whistleblowers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. It's a huge thing.
You're saying like government employees coming out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I heard like an FBI whistleblower, but I just didn't know of its prevalence.
No, a lot of I guess it would be like in the upper echelons, like it's mostly with management, but yeah, a lot of whistleblowing.
Oh.
Well, Theranos had its own little whistleblower, tooting his little
horn.
Boop, boop. Guy by the name of Tyler Schultz. Schultz, you say?
There's another Schultz in there.
There
right?
is another Schultz there.
Relative.
So Tyler Schultz was not only a Theranos employee, he was the grandson of, by far and away, its most prestigious board member, former Secretary of State George Shultz. Tyler dropped a dime to the Wall Street Journal. He decided he'd had enough. He alerted the Wall Street Journal that Theranos' tech did not work at all. I feel shocked.
Yeah, I know.
I'm shocked.
Well, these are usually like disgruntled employees too. Like he probably got passed over for a big job or wanted on the board,
No, I saw an interview with him, but we'll get through this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Yeah. So this, what old Tyler Schultz had to say was, in fact, Theranos had been using existing traditional testing methods and technology to generate its results. To be clear on that, Theranos' its selling point was being able to use a minuscule amount of blood that you could take just from a fingertip. You did not need to use vials and vials of blood. Plus, what Theranos was also promising is that not only did you only need this little bit of blood, we would give to you almost immediate or very quick results. Very, very swift results. And we would expedite that right to your doctor. So everything was just in real time. So indeed, not only were they using the existing old methods to produce their results, when they were using their own technology, the results were inaccurate.
Yeah, they were way off.
Way off. Stuff. So not only did they not have the existing tech that they were trying to sell, according to Tyler here, not only did they have the wrong tech or tech that didn't work, they were using existing methods. The stuff that they were trying to get away from, they still had to go back to the old way.
Right. They were just like putting it as a front, almost like this little small machine is doing everything, but it's really not.
Yeah. That story broke in October of 2015.
Yeah, and
that would be a bad day in fucking Bosnia for Theranos.
It would be bad. But yeah, on that interview, I think it was like with 2020 or one of the news programs, he was describing like the equipment they would use. Like parts would be falling off of it. Like they had that little machine that was supposed to be reading. Like it would lock up. They would do these demos and stuff, and the stuff just did not work. There was one instance. Now I don't know if this was from him, but that one of the employees talked about where they flew over to Sweden to meet with Novartis, and they had this big presentation with their machines to show off the technology. Well, the night before, the machines were freezing and like giving error messages and stuff. So they were up all night trying to like trick the machine into like spitting something out so they could give a result. And they were actually beaming in results from like California. Like it wasn't even from the machine itself. They were like bringing in these results from like bogus results just to put something on the screen.
Jesus.
So they just had it like linked into a computer and they were just typing the stuff in?
Yeah,
Or it was just like wireless still?
It was all fake. Like it was all basically like the machine wasn't doing, like he was saying, it's another lab, but they were spitting out fake results.
Correct.
So, And they also talked about, which luckily this there were like cancer patients in this one thing that they were doing, this trial, and luckily they were using this more as like they weren't using this to make decisions, luckily for these patients.
Yeah, because
to see if they were improving. But
you're talking about people's lives.
People's lives, yeah.
And that's what we were talking about earlier in the last episode about, like, you're not dealing with like Facebook or like an app that if it crashes or something doesn't work right, like, oh, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But with this, it's your health. But they were using these Theranos machines to diagnose these people, like on a daily basis. They were checking their blood just to get a reading, like on if the medicine's working or if the tumor, whatever they were on these cancer patients. So that shit's crazy. If these machines weren't working correctly and they knew it, if that was the case, that they were allowing that to happen. Yeah. So these people that are working there, like this Alex Schultz, are probably seeing these things like, wait a minute.
Tyler Schultz.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, Tyler Schultz. Yep. We better, call them out. So I don't think there was any of that where he got fired but I do know that when these people would question them, they would belittle them and be like, you don't know your math. You don't know this.
You don't know how to work this machine.
You're just stupid.
Dummy head.
I read and actually saw some of that too in that little bio. That was absolutely a thing. If you didn't fall in line and believe in the dream and believe in the smoke and mirrors that we're selling here, we're either going to marginalize you or we're going to fucking fire you.
Yeah, you were in
That's
trouble.
it.
Yeah.
If you question, exactly as you had said, Dave, if you question our authority, if you question our dream, you're out.
Mm-hmm. And one other story I heard in that audiobook, actually, I listened to The Bad Blood. It was a really good, I listened to the audiobook this week during work. I was driving around, but there was a story like that kind of give you an idea how, like, when she wanted something done, it better be done or you fear for your job.
Like that day, was she like, it's on your desk?
Yeah. So the day of, they were supposed to be moving out of that building into the new Facebook building.
Yeah.
The owner of the building they were in previously said, like, if you're not out by midnight today, you have to pay rent for like the following month or however many months. And she was like, that can't happen. You need to call the moving company and get them here today. We need to be out by midnight. The guy's like, that's not even possible, but I knew that if I challenged her on it, I'd probably get fired or lose my job. So he called this moving company and laughed him off. They're like, we're not doing that. We're not coming tonight and moving between,
nuts.
We have 9 hours or whatever till midnight. And he called like a couple other places and they were like, that these moving companies are mob tied, like unionized. And if we try to take this work from them, like there could be like physical harm brought on us and all this shit. But this guy was so fearful of her and like challenging her that he was trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
Well, it finally came back that obviously they couldn't make that move happen. And she did kind of go along with it, but they were all scared to like tell her like, no, we can't do that. So yeah, if you challenged her on anything business wise, like she would take you out, fire you, get rid of you, blackball you.
So I've met a number of entrepreneurs in my day, and I know at least a handful that if you tell them that, look, this can't happen, what you're asking for is not possible, given a time frame or given even just the reality of it, you will absolutely be shut down. No, hell no. I'll make it happen. We can make it happen. Let's do it. We're going to make it happen because I want to will it to happen.
Yeah.
Like, dude, sorry, man. It just doesn't work that way.
They're so used to having things too with the money that they have that when they hear it can't be done, it's like impossible in their minds because they're like, everything I want done is done.
I would agree, Matt.
So
there's a
this
price
doesn't
for
make
everything.
sense. Yes. Like, here, I'll give you whatever you need. Just get it done.
Yep. If I need to hire 10 moving companies, let's say, we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's why they have like pet lions and weird shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because they can.
Yeah. That's the same reason a dog licks his balls.
Yep.
Because he can. Well, again, articles come out, bad press. Now, whistleblower, Theranos was absolutely now on the defense. They lawyered up, and not only did they lawyer up, they attempted to scrub the internet.
How do you do that?
Yeah. How does one do? Is that even possible?
Sure, it's absolutely possible.
Oh.
It happens all the time.
Like completely though?
Look, man.
What, anything that they put out, they can scrub?
100%. You can absolutely scrub the internet. Hell, there's...
But once it's received or anything from another entity, right? Like, you can't eliminate any of that. Like, there's still...
Dark web.
There's...
Not dark web, but there's still ties to everything, you know?
There is. But if it's pulled quickly enough...
Okay.
It's some people might have visited and might have seen it, but look, you've seen that all of the time. Like if you follow like a Twitter thing or whatever thing, somebody pulls that off. or something will happen. Or hell, there's countless numbers of.
But there's
of
still a
world news.
fingerprint. Like you can still get in. Some guy with a computer can get in and retrieve. Correct? Or
You have to. So you have to, on purpose, with significant purpose, be looking for it.
Okay.
What Theranos was trying to do, we got to scrub this so going forward, nobody's going to find this. No casual browser.
Make it
Gotcha.
hard. Make it really hard.
Make it really like
no potential customer is browsing around trying to get references for us, and they pull this bad press.
I got you.
So that is absolutely possible. 100%. Hell, I know of businesses out there that will scrub the internet for you if you get bad reviews for your product, service, restaurant, you
Your
name it.
podcast?
Sure.
We got to get that.
We got to get that. Whoever gave us the 1 star.
Well, there's a video I've been looking for. I saw it like 2 years ago, and I'm assuming this he was like a frat boy, like, college kid. And there's like a fight melee going on, and this kid drops out of the sky almost. Looks like holding a beer and falls into it's like the funniest video. But I'm thinking like his parents are probably rich and connected, or like get that out of there, because like our son looks like an idiot. I'll try to pull it up all the time, and it's scrubbed from the internet. Like I look, frat kid falls from sky holding beer. I can't find the video.
It's out. You can scrub the internet, man. I promise
So
you.
his parents, maybe the dad's like on this board or something, and he was like got rid of it.
Get a business for like people that pass away to scrub their web browsers.
Yeah. Well, that's what a guy at work talked about. Like when he dies, because he lives alone, he's somebody to come clean up
His house,
stuff.
get all this shit out of his house.
I know people who have that in place, like in their wills, or they have like a as soon as I'm found dead, let this person know, give them a call, and then
The wolf.
that's
wolf.
exactly they will send the wolf. Absolutely, they will send the wolf.
Before your
you're
like
sending
parents
the
come to your
wolf?
house.
Oh, shit! That's all you had to say.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction.
Well, word of this again. Trying to scrub the internet, they lawyered up. That didn't work. Again, once you get whistleblower, you now have protection. Now, granted, your career might be significantly hindered going forward because your potential employers are going to know, oh, well, this guy's a whistleblower. I don't know if we can trust him because he's going to
what if they find something wrong while they're working here?
That's right.
Then we're screwed.
You have that. You're a snitch, man. We don't know if we want to hire you.
Yeah.
Either way, word of Theranos' bad tech made its way to the FDA. Now, again, they didn't necessarily need licensing.
Yeah, you don't want any federal agency involved with any of your scandalous affairs.
That's it. That's exactly right. Once it made its way to the FDA, Theranos suspended its testing and ongoing due diligence for its devices. Basically, look, we're done. We're not going to do anything more for now. We're just going to hold off until all of this, everything will calm down. We're just going to suspend what we're doing, they say to the FDA. Well, in addition to that as a result of that bad press, in addition to the FDA finding out about it, Safeway canceled their plans to outfit 800 of their stores with those in-store blood tests. Not long after, Walgreens canceled their plans for that pilot program that it had negotiated back in 2013. And, of course, use of Theranos' tests at the Capital Blue Cross retail space in Enola, Pennsylvania were suspended as well.
Yeah. House of Cards, man. It's falling down.
It just started falling. Everything started falling. Well, it did not get any better. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services revoked Theranos' certification as a clinical laboratory and suspended Elizabeth and Sonny for 2 years from owning or operating any certified clinical laboratory. Can you imagine that? Like 2 years, what you have been doing for 10, you now have to never do again, or you cannot do this again for 2
But that even sounds
years.
like not a big thing though. Like if you have that kind of money, you can sit and like just hang on that for like 2 years. Doesn't seem like any kind of penalty. In a way, yes, but
I guess for what they're doing, like that's how their livelihood is. And
I mean, so you think about that though with the money. When you have that money and it's all tied up. When we
you're right. A lot of that it's tied up in all of these proceedings.
When we hear of a $4.5 billion, somebody's worth $4.5 billion. Well, all of that value is in one company. Now they can't go cashing out. They can't go selling anything. That's just their value. If for whatever reason things today they would liquidate it and somebody would buy it, sure, $4.5 billion. But what instead happens is when you have that value. I mean, we're talking Jeffrey Bezos, we're talking Elon Musk, like you name any one of them, anyone where car doors go like this. While they have that value, they just borrow against it. You're taking out lines of credit and loans for cash.
Yeah, you're never using actual money.
Correct. You are borrowing against your wealth. You collateralize all of that wealth, and you again, you're just taking some cash out. You pay it back. Hell, you can write off the interest, which is great.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's see where that goes. Let's see. Oh yeah. So they're out of biz for 2 years. Can't do shit. Federal prosecutors and the SEC began a criminal investigation against Theranos for misleading investors and government officials about its tech. All of this from a whistleblower, which came after two doctors or two professors.
Stanford professors.
Yeah, who said, you guys are fucked. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, May 2016, Theranos voided 2 years of its machines testing results. Now, can you dig that? This business was being built on the results of its test. Like, look, according to our results, according to our tech, according to what we can do, this is what we can do for you. 2 years of those results were voided. Gone. In June 2016, this is not but a year and change after whenever. In June 2016, Forbes magazine issued a correction to its 2015 article, which, having previously estimated Elizabeth Holmes' net worth at $4.5 billion, Forbes now estimated her value to be zero.
Damn.
Zero.
So it seems like Forbes too, with the $4.5 billion, like they kind of ask, like, "Hey, what do you think you're worth?" She's like, $4.5 billion. Like, okay, let me print that.
Yeah,
Like it's, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, it's zero now. I'm sorry, we had 4.5 billion, now it's zero.
It's like my DraftKings account.
It's like my fantasy football team.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, I just can't wrap my head around that. Like
To lose that much money that quickly,
to lose that
insane.
worth so quickly.
It's like Brewster's Millions. Like he had to like spend all that money in 30 days.
What
like
was 1 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like you can't even spend it that quick.
But he
like,
couldn't gain anything. You had to spend the money, but you weren't able to.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah,
actually.
I like that.
I had to
John Candy.
It was Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
John Candy was in it too.
Was
right?
he in it? Yeah.
He was the catcher.
And Master Bates. That was the kid.
Bates. So
Wasn't? Oh, that was the toy. I'm sorry.
that was the toy.
Yeah.
That was the toy.
So Richard Pryor was in it.
Oh, he's
Good.
the best.
Yeah.
Which makes it good. So
But yeah, to lose that much is insane.
1 year later, just 1 year later, which, and I get it, Matt, you're absolutely right. Well, okay. Hey, Elizabeth, what's your stake in this company? Oh, well, the company's worth 10. I got 45% of it. So I'm worth $4.5 billion.
It seems like they didn't really dig in before they printed it. You know, it's kind of like, oh, let's take her word for it because this is like the hottest tech right now.
I mean, they're going to, there's a valuation that was in place that would say, sure, at this time it's worth this, and this is your stake in it. So mathematically, yes, you would be worth that.
Well, talking to Shark Tank, they do that all the time. Like people will say, this is our valuation, and they're like, how did you get there? And then they start calling bullshit, like those guys. And the girl on there on Shark Tank, I forget her name. But they're on there, and they're like, I don't know. That number seems fishy to me.
I'll tell you, dude, just to get called out 1 year earlier, just 1 year earlier, this chick was the belle of the ball. I mean, everybody wanted to talk to her. She was the female Steve Jobs, bro.
Well, it was the people she had backing her too. Like we said, everybody was on her side, 100%. And they were big names. And you had the vice president in there. Like you're like, this is real.
Everything was in her favor. 1 year later, dude, over. It was worth zero.
Yeah.
Within a few months after that, Theranos announced that it would close its labs and lay off 40% of its workforce. After failing an FDA inspection in late 2016. Theranos laid off an additional 41% of its workforce and
81%.
closed it. Dude, I know, and laid off its last
Quick math.
Yeah. And and it closed its last remaining blood testing facility in January of 2017. Dude, it's basically like we're fucking done.
Yeah.
We're if nothing else, we got to put the brakes on everything, and they closed it. They closed it all. You got to believe that lawsuits are going to follow.
Oh yeah, once you have those fire sales like that, you know something's wrong.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's coming in there. Like you said, the lawyers are going to be checking things out. You're lawyering up. It's going to be going to go to court somewhere.
Yeah.
You think about the decade that it took to build this, right? The decade and change, 12 years, whatever it was, to build this. I mean, this took time. This took diligence. It certainly must have taken a lot of fucking lies too.
Right.
Or just a lot of aloofness or a lot of really coercive talking to just within a matter of months go down to nothing. Yeah. Now, granted, but it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense because there was nothing there to begin with.
Yeah,
it was all a fucking lie.
Based on nothing, really.
I mean, again, I can't stress enough the idea of somebody having to do their due diligence before you go into business with somebody.
I always wonder what's going through somebody like her. And we've had a lot of stories like this where somebody is basically living a lifestyle based on all lies and shit that's made up, and they're making money. I mean, we had it with like the Z Carpet guy you mentioned. I can't remember his name, or any of these people that are scam artists that, like each day is like a gift, because at any time it's going to come crashing down. Like, how do you live your life looking over your shoulder? I mean, I think about that with like mobsters and stuff too.
Sure.
You're eating at the best restaurants, you're living that lifestyle, but it's all it's all going to end at some point. You have to know.
I couldn't do it.
Friend of the show, L.A. Ron, he told me a good story about a guy that this guy basically went in and he scammed out. It was like all these tech companies. I forget because it was AV related. That's why we were talking about it. I'm going to say it was like Techniques and a couple other ones that he scammed them out all this money, knowing that if he moved to this specific country, he would make a deal with this country. Like, hey, I'm about to get, they're going to want extra, but they have no extradition. And basically they're going to try to, get me for these crimes. If you put me in jail here, I'll give you some money when I get out, because all this money will still be there. So
wait, are you talking about L.A. Ron was the guy, or
no? He was telling me a story about.
Damn,
I was like, damn, L.A. Ron.
No, he was telling me a story about this guy.
Putting it all out there.
Yeah,
basically, he knew what he was doing was wrong, that he was going to get caught. So he made a deal with this small country, basically hey, put me in jail here for what's going on and let me out. And then he just had some kind of deal where he did minimal time.
I think that's the way we're built as humans, though. I think it's that satisfaction now. You get that now, and it we'll worry about tomorrow when that comes. And think about it. You're not talking I mean, it is in a lifetime. 10 years, 12 years is a snap of a finger. But while she was in it, she's just enjoying this life. And look what I've done. Look what I built. Yeah. And it's hard to just once you get into that funnel, you're in it.
And then she'll get out and probably write a book. And
it's one of them things. And you're not, you haven't killed anybody. You haven't in this. I mean, I'm sure with drug dealers too and things like that. I mean,
she could have come close though.
Yeah,
for sure.
But you're always running from something, and it's a hard way to live.
I could not do it. I would have a nervous fucking breakdown.
Yeah. Again, white collar crime though. Is there any Martha Stewart?
God bless her.
Yeah, but you're not really. You're ending up in a country club pretty much for maybe 2-3 years, depending.
Yeah, depends.
I wonder if she'll end up in a country club.
I don't know.
Well, as we had suggested, the lawsuits did in fact come pouring in. Walgreens, Safeway, state agencies, investors, you name it. Lawsuit after lawsuit. Now, in addition to the accusations of false advertising and inaccurate test results, now one of the most notable claims, and we touched on this before, was that Theranos had been using lab equipment purchased from other diagnostic equipment manufacturers to run fake demonstrations and perform its in-house lab tests. So one more time to summarize this. Theranos was selling a product and service. What they were ultimately delivering was provided by other manufacturers.
Yeah, they were using other people's shit then
to
do the work.
It's like buying why don't you just go buy a television, slap your name at the bottom of it, and then resell it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they were doing. But which
is not technically illegal in a way.
Well,
but the way that they were doing it.
They were selling it with some random pie in the sky idea technology that just didn't exist. It's like, dude, it was just a magician's act.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was all illusion.
Copperfield.
Not to be confused with collusion.
Yeah.
Well, and, as we had suggested, it would soon come to light that the lab that Biden had visited back in 2015, that whole thing, complete sham. The facility he was at, it was staged.
It was all
the stuff he was looking at, the products, like we talked about the magic boxes and shit that were delivering these results. It was just a pristinely manufactured, like a Hollywood-like set within their facility.
Again, with the money like that, you can perform like this, Disney Magic Kingdom type. Fake it, and then the what was that? The sweeper guy, like you said, let's get all these things in here and make it look like
Z-Best car.
Yeah, make it look like we got all the latest technology.
Barry Minkow, was that
Minkow?
I think you're right. I think it was Barry Minkow.
That just came to me.
Yeah, well done.
But yeah, when you have the money like that, you're not doing anything. You're the one that knows it. Maybe one or two other people, and so we're like, let's just put this front up, and when things look good, people fall for it.
That takes me back to a thing on 2020 they did with Payless shoes, right? So they were talking about how like designer brand shoes, are they really worth the money? So they took Payless shoes and put them in this store in this like Beverly Hills, I think it was like Beverly Hills or something, and they called it like Paylezios or something, right?
Right.
And they had all Payless shoes, and they did like a big grand opening, and all these wealthy people were going to look at these like $10 Payless shoes, but they were like $4,000, $7,000, and they're like, wow, these are like great shoes. And they were like, they were interviewing the people like, do you think it's worth the money? Like, absolutely. The craftsmanship in these shoes. But they were all like Payless shoes.
Yeah.
They just changed the name, and like people believed it. So
Well,
if you put the illusion on.
That name bullshit is fucking bullshit. Now,
Yeah.
I will certainly give credit to the idea of in a very different circumstance, like you're going to have a shit brand of jeans or you're going to have a good brand of jeans. You can tell the difference. You can feel the difference, but not when it comes into thousands of dollars for a pair of fucking pants or a pair of sneakers or whatever.
Yeah, a pair of Levi's compared to a pair of whatever, but Levi's are still affordable good jeans.
$1,000 pair of sunglasses versus a $5 pair I bought at the convenience store. I mean, come on. It's still blocking the fucking sun.
Same thing.
For sure. And I know a girl that's in actually the sunglass industry, and she was telling me the big difference in sunglasses, it's not even the frames are all the same, it's the lenses.
Okay.
That's where the money's at.
Okay.
That's where they charge more.
The UV blocking rays or whatever that has.
That's all bullshit, though.
It is all bullshit. Just like Theranos was all bullshit. You know, she was able to, when we talk about the contracts she had, like the Safeways or the Walgreens, these contracts were inked years prior to this happening. Like, she hadn't delivered much of anything to these
she was
guys.
selling the tech. She wasn't actually selling the product yet.
Well, what's even worse, it's not, to be clear on that, she just never delivered. She just kept postponing the delivery. You know what I mean? It's like, hey man, you know, on Walgreens, we signed on to this thing, you know, back in 2012. Well, we were supposed to start this in 2013. What's the deal? Well, we're still going through tests. We're not, we want to make sure that, you know, we are 100%, you know, foolproof, that we're ready to go, and we're just going to hit the ground running with you guys. 2014. Hey man, remember that deal we signed with you now 2 years ago? Where's the fucking product and service? You know, where's this thing? We're almost there. Maybe just like give us through the end of the year if you could. Like we just want to make sure it's right. She just kept stringing these people along because she had nothing to deliver. Nothing. It did not fucking exist. It's amazing. Just fuck.
It is.
Blows my mind. Well, all these lawsuits that we talked about, amazingly enough, these were all squashed as swiftly as possible just by reaching settlements. It's like, look, man, you promised to deliver us this. We lost this much revenue in it. You at least we'll make you whole for the revenue you lost, right? It's not like, please don't sue us into perpetuity and take us into X number of years, taking future revenues and shit like that. We'll just pay you the flat amount now and be done with it.
So Holmes still had capital then?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, let's not forget, while delivering a service, a product and service that was in fact completely bogus, she still was delivering product and services. Again, like for GSKs, for Pfizer's, she was doing lab work. It's just she wasn't using Theranos' tech.
Yes.
She was using the old shit, but they were still providing a service and still making income.
Right.
However, let's not forget that after, you know, even settling all of those lawsuits, Theranos was in fact out of the blood testing business for at least 2 years. So they're not making any fucking money.
Right.
I should say income.
Yeah, but she still has money.
So in December 2017, hoping to cover their ongoing operating expenses for that 2-year suspension, Theranos had secured a $100 million loan. In exchange, here comes the Shark Tank, in exchange for 4% of the company and leveraging its patents as collateral.
Like, if you fuck up, we're taking your patents.
Well, if you default on your payments, it's like a mortgage. You know, if you don't pay your mortgage, we're going to take your fucking house.
Yeah, true.
In this case, you don't pay the line of credit or the $100 million loan. If you don't pay it off timely, we're going to take your patents. And again, we still hold 4% of that company. Well, that was December of 2017. In March of 2018, this is not, but dude, like 3 months later, the SEC filed charges of fraud against Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes, and Sunny Balwani for misleading investors. Again, this is just outright lying to them. When you've got the FDA crying foul, when you've got this CMS crying foul, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, when they're crying foul, when you've got investors crying foul, when you've got customers crying foul, it's going to make its way to the SEC. Despite them not being a publicly traded company, it's still going to make it, to the highest of the high. A month later, by March 2018, the company was down to 25 employees.
From 800.
From 800.
Damn.
A couple of months later, in June 2018, the U.S. Attorney's Office indicted Holmes and Sonny on multiple counts of fraud. And by multiple, I'm talking wire fraud and defrauding investors, doctors, even patients and shit. Within days, Holmes resigned as the CEO, but she did remain the chair of the board.
Okay.
Okay. A couple of months after that, August 31st, 2018, just a couple of months after the indictments, all but a handful of Theranos personnel were let go. And by handful, I'm talking, so she stepped down as the CEO, so they had to have an interim CEO. I'm sure they had to have some kind of general counsel on board. And I'm sure like a couple of secretaries here or there, some administrative help.
Yeah.
On September 4th, not but a few days later, Theranos announced that all operations were ceased.
Totally done.
Done.
Reminds me, like when we had this, there was a nice James Way Plaza
Yeah.
out where this whole thing is like the crumbling of James Way.
It is.
God rest your soul, James Way.
I used to love that place.
Dude, James Way was the best.
It was.
Absolutely the best.
I don't know, was that just local or was that like a real,
I think that was a chain, I would think.
really? Okay.
I thought James Way was very similar to Ames.
Yeah, Ames.
When I was good, like in that little place there in the middle, I thought it was like a family owned.
Nah,
like,
that
honestly,
was,
like it was like Joe James Way that had
that was a
that.
little too like
No, I don't want to do it Joe's way. I'm doing it James,
James
way.
Way. Yeah.
Like I thought it was somebody's last name. I thought that was just like for, I don't know, being a kid, I just thought that was like our area.
Your own thing.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody had James Way plazas. Or it was a James Way Plaza. I guess it was just a James Way.
Yeah.
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 All right.
It happened to be located in a plaza. James Way was the anchor store. So they called it the James Way Plaza.
Yeah, I thought it was the James Way Plaza. I thought that was the name of the actual place.
Like
but
there might
it's
be
not.
nowadays there might be a Target Plaza
Yeah,
or
just the biggest
Yeah.
baller there,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean?
a Wegmans Plaza.
But yeah, it went from something to nothing, just like that,
Just like this.
overnight.
Dude, nothing.
Nothing.
It's operations are done. We are shut the fuck down.
Yeah, there's no such thing as too big to fail, you know? You would think with that valuation and the money going in and the people involved, like how could it ever fail? But
Yeah.
you just never know.
Well, it fails when there's nothing. Again, nothing. There's no underlying product. There's no underlying service according to the tech that you're selling us. It's bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. This is like, I know in the one documentary I had seen that there was a reference to. In fact, they called their machine the Edison machine. So Thomas Edison was a great performer, for lack of a better word. He was forever pushing and selling this idea that, hey man, I got this incandescent light bulb. I got this incandescent light bulb. In reality, he didn't. When he was selling it to the Westinghouses or the whomevers of the world, Westinghouse is probably the wrong reference, but when he was selling it to electric companies or to towns or to cities, like, hey man, I'm going to illuminate your streets. I've got this light bulb. They all bought in. They all said, yeah, man, I'll take as many as you can fucking give.
But he had the idea for it.
Tesla had the idea, I believe, right?
He
Or-
only had the idea. He did not
he didn't have
the product.
the tech,
That's
the way
right.
to do it.
Did not have it. And he was, dude, fun fact, Thomas Edison was like almost broken bankrupt by the time he finally, after his 10,000th fucking try at working at incandescent light bulbs, he finally figured out what worked. Like he was down to his ride, man.
Yeah, so sometimes it works out, you know what I mean?
He got lucky.
Yeah.
He got damn lucky. Anyway, back to this poor broad. And no, forget this broad. She's not a poor broad. She gets what she deserves.
Well, she is poor now.
She is damn poor now.
Very poor.
Zero. She doesn't even have car doors.
No.
So Holmes's
I
trial.
wonder what, when you said it, I'm sorry.
No,
but
go ahead, go ahead.
Real quick, like I wonder what she did
It's
drive.
never
Does
really
anybody know?
quickly.
What she drove?
Yeah, what she drove, like what the crib looked
I
like.
know they, like I said, they did mention that she
Was she like a
roll up-
BMW kind of chick,
roll
or
up
was
with
she?
the rap music. I forget what kind of car, if they even said.
Was it like a Chevy or something? I
Oh,
don't know.
no, I'm sorry. She drove a Prius.
Oh, so
Yeah.
she was a hippie
Yeah.
kind.
She
Yeah,
did drive-
okay.
Shitting me? She drove
her-
a Prius?
Well, I mean, all them people out there. And,
Yeah,
and you know
that's-
what I mean?
yeah.
West Coast, like,
West
oh,
Coast is very.
save the environment, you know.
That's a very liberal part of town.
That makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at that time, too.
That was a cool thing. The
This was-
Prius when they were new technology.
Yeah, that like back then, 2000, 7, 8, whatever. that was like the big thing. Like, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio drove a Prius.
That was like a Tesla.
Like
The Tesla of today was the Prius.
It was the status of,
yes,
you're making a difference.
Right.
You're making money. You're smart enough to have a Prius.
Now it's the Cybertruck. There's one actually around here.
I love those things. I
saw
fucking
one,
love
They're
them.
so obnoxious.
Yeah.
I love them. It's like Total Recall came to life. I love it.
But they're huge too. Like you don't realize how big they are until you get up close to one.
Those things are
Like I
so
seen pictures
banging.
and I was like, they look okay. But then I got to see one like from here to where you're at.
Yeah, I saw one. There's actually the other day. It was in front of me. And I'm like, holy shit, that thing is big.
They're huge. There's 3 at my work now.
I wish I had one, but I only want one if it's gas.
Diesel.
I don't want an electric truck. I want the gas version of the Tesla truck. Please, Elon,
Make it happen.
I don't think he's going to do that.
would you please? I know you listen to our podcast, Elon. Could you please make the gasoline version?
Yeah, and put us on Department of Broadcasting or
That's
something.
Well, no, even the Hummer now has their whole electric, which is selling like crazy.
Yeah.
Which I think it
EV,
costs
with the crab
walk.
Yeah.
But I think it takes like they said $120 to charge.
One charge.
Wait. What's a crab walk?
It's where your wheels turn.
The wheels go like you can kind of go sideways. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like called the crab walk on the Hummer. The Hummer EV does it.
Which I thought it was for parking, but it's basically like for being off road. If you're stuck somewhere, you can turn your wheels.
You can go
and
sideways out of
it
it.
gets sideways out.
Wow.
Wheels go like this.
Yeah, wheels go like this. That's when you got money. That's money wheels right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Holmes's trial began on August 31st, 2021. This is almost 3 years to the day of when Theranos shut down. Again, back in August 31st of 2018, 3 years earlier, at that time, all but a handful of employees were let go, and not but 5 days later, everything shut down. So here we are 3 years later. This is after COVID.
Yeah.
There was postponements for COVID, and I think she got knocked up, didn't she?
Yeah, I thought she looked pregnant, and I asked Michelle. I was like, "Is she pregnant in that picture?" I couldn't tell. You know what I mean?
I just gained weight.
Yeah. I've been eating at Long John Silver's.
I'm broke now.
Yeah.
Long John Silver's so good.
She had the mask on though. So I know the trial, the COVID was still kind of happening. I guess But I saw that picture.
Yeah,
she did look pregnant.
Somebody stop me.
So who knocked
She
her
had the
up?
mask on.
Was it Sunny?
I don't know.
Was it Sunny, or did she have like a in vitro fertilization?
Well, she probably did a pregnancy test. Probably didn't work on her
Because
machine.
it was a bad machine.
Bad machine.
It was she used a Theranos issued pregnancy
machine.
test.
Yeah. One other thing too about that machine that I thought was crazy is that they talked about like not only like that they would in real time like diagnose and treat like all from this machine that they were saying like the things that it could do. It's just insane. The claims that they made.
They
like
really
could make you a cup of coffee.
They really close, Matt. Really close. They really started overselling the capabilities of the machine. So to be clear, the machine had zero capabilities from the gate, but just to add insult to injury, they just started rattling off basically every possible disease in the world
that could test for.
That it could test for or treat or do whatever. And it's okay. Now you're way the fuck out of bounds.
There was a claim that it could detect a specific protein or something that could tell you 17 years ahead if of pancreatic cancer.
Bullshit.
Like one of the
Of
was
course.
like pancreatic cancer or something like that.
Of course. Watch me now. This is truly, and now I will pull a rabbit out of this box. I mean, that's exactly what the fuck this is. So yeah, okay. Trial began August 31st, 2021. 3 years. 3 years later, she pled ignorance. She just said that, well, everybody that's working under me, I don't understand what's going on there. I've been misled. Hell, even my longtime boyfriend, my 19-year-old senior to me boyfriend, clearly he must have been misleading me too. I had no idea this was going on.
Yep.
Well, the court found otherwise. Of course, as the CEO, the buck stops with her. So by the time the jury reached its verdict in January of 2022, she was found not guilty on any charges relating to defrauding doctors and patients, which is interesting to me, but I can understand it to the extent that it was the lab people, or it was the something else that she did not speak, to be clear, she did not speak directly to the doctors. She did not speak directly to the patients. So
it's like a sales type thing. She was involved in it, but it wasn't directly something she was doing.
That's right.
Firsthand.
However, she was found guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors, and she remained free on $500,000 bail, waiting her sentencing.
See, the defrauding investors gets me too, because isn't that just stupidity on your part? Because she was putting a product out there, but the product wasn't doing what she was saying it was doing. But isn't it up to the people buying the product to check on this?
When you put, and I agree to an extent. I agree. However,
To an extent, I know. Go ahead.
When you're putting it on paper, that look, man, in exchange for your investment, in exchange for this, that, your money, your whatever, we are going to give you this, that, and the other thing, and this is what you're putting your money into. She's basically the defrauding the investors is saying, I have this magic box.
Yeah, she's selling illusions.
This magic box works.
But as an investor, wouldn't you want to be hands-on? Like, let me see the product.
Yeah.
Let me see one of your product.
It'd be like if I said, I got all this gold here and you're investing, and then here it's like chocolate covered.
Correct.
You have that gold covered chocolate, the foil.
That's
you know
right.
It's like I'm saying, I have this podcast that I want you to invest in.
Yeah.
And yeah. We're getting nothing for, but you want to see a product. I would say, let me see your first, refined edition of this, and then we'll get back to you.
So when they did their due diligence, Matt, when they would, let's say, send people to their labs, the lab would give them the same dog and pony show.
Dog and I get it. I
That
get
they
it.
did with Biden.
The same illusion they gave to Biden. The illusion. This doesn't exist, but here's what you're investing your money in.
Yeah,
That's just straight up fraud.
it is straight up fraud, but the defrauding the investor part is what get like you
You're
have
taking
these
a chance. Yeah.
yeah, you're investing in something you have no people invest in stuff all the time that they're taking a chance on.
Yeah, but you gotta probably disclose that up front. Like, hey, there's a chance.
There's it,
that we
but
might
that's
not,
always
you know
a
what I mean?
chance.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk to J-Dub about this.
This is her saying you're not even taking a chance.
Yeah,
This is her saying-
this is it. This is what we have. You're going to get this.
She's offering a tangible product and a tangible service that did not exist.
I got you.
This is it.
That's right.
That's what.
Wait. I want to hold off on that. Let's pin that because I want to get to that after we're done.
Yes,
here.
yes, excellent,
Okay.
excellent.
All right. Now I want to rush through this because God damn it. All right. $500,000 ban. Okay. On November 18th, 2022, Holmes was sentenced to 11 years, 3 months in prison, and was ordered to pay $452 million with an M to defrauded investors. Now that $452 million needed to be paid jointly with her boyfriend, Sonny.
She didn't have that shit.
Sonny went to prison too. I forget for how long, but he might have actually gone for longer because there's allegations that he was the one that was really driving the falsehood. He was there's a school of thought out there that in fact he was lying to her the whole fucking time. He was saying, "Look, this shit works. You don't need to go down in the lab. It works. I'm selling it. It works. It's good."
I think there was an amount of naiveness to her also with her and Sonny and her like growing up with this idea and having it so fast at such a young age.
She didn't blink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying legitimately, there were times where she would be in interviews and did not blink. Her eyeballs did not blink.
Yeah, she was intense.
So after all of that, Holmes reported to a minimum security prison in Bryan, Texas on May 30th, 2023. And barring any changes from any pending appeals, she's expected to be released 2 years early in 2032.
But she's basically at a country club.
100%.
Minimum security.
Minimum
Yeah.
security. You're able to do pretty much whatever.
Yeah. In 2015, she had the value of $4.5 billion. Less than 1 year later, her value went to zero.
But she led that life, man. She still had a
That's fucking Vegas, baby.
she still had a taste of what
Lived it for a while.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
taste.
There's got to be money hidden somewhere too. You would think somebody has that much.
Yeah, you're not completely broke.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
put away in
know.
offshore accounts, or she had somebody doing something for her.
She was over in, like I said, in Sweden, at
Mm-hmm.
Novartis, and these countries. Maybe if you got money over there, you know what I mean, that you can move around. I would always think when you're dealing with this much money and you get charged with a crime that you have money stashed away.
Yeah.
And when you get out, like I said, I could see her getting out writing books and doing interviews and like, oh, I did my time. Like she did her time, so now it's okay to talk about it. And I feel like with these type crimes too, like people forgive and forget a lot quicker than like a murder or a, you know.
Yeah, that didn't directly impact. It's based on big money, dealing with big money.
It's like voting every 4 years. It is amazing how short voters' memories are, how quickly they forget about people fucking shit up.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. Fun fact. Operation ceased in 2018. Theranos was still being issued patents into 2019 because of the lengthy time it takes for the application process.
Yeah.
So
and
they
the
get it
approvals.
back by
They were
then.
still getting patents. Now
Wow.
it was interesting to see how how patents really work, you're really selling the idea you're applying to secure the idea. Like you're not giving to the patent office a demonstrated object. You're just sending them blueprints. So
yeah, does it work or not? They have no clue, but the patent seems okay, so we'll
this is the
accept
idea behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Someday it'll come out and it'll be great. A similar example to that, Apple at one point, I know, is one. I'm sure Samsung was one or somebody else was one, had applied for patents years ago for folding screens for phones.
Yeah.
The tech did not exist.
But they knew
it was going to. So they applied for the patents as soon as it came to their mind.
Hey guys, can you wrap it up?
Oh man.
Dang. Well, I guess after now, thank you, Mrs. Dave. Yes, we finally got the chance to finish. My God.
Yeah, long-awaited part 2.
Yeah, that was a really interesting story that I knew nothing about. I actually missed this totally in the news. Like I said, in the first episode, I didn't even know what Theranos was.
I love the financial crimes, and you know what? I see something like this, I'm going to jump on it because still, to this day, with all of the technology out there, with all of the internet, all of the social media, all of the sharing of information, somebody is still able to pull off the oldest trick in the book.
The oldest trick in the book, man.
This is, how could you fall for that, man? Yeah. This is somebody selling, this is a snake oil salesman.
Yep.
We're selling you some tonic that'll cure this, it'll cure rickets. It's better than blackstrap molasses.
So where is she at again?
Prison.
Yes, but what's the prison called?
Texas.
She's in Bryan, Texas.
Okay, I say we write a letter or get her on because she's able to make phone calls from the minimum security. Maybe we can get her to answer questions.
I don't know if I would want to sign her NDA just to talk to her.
Yeah, that's what I talked about in the episode. Like the people that were around her, like they were on pins and needles all the time. Like
I may write her a letter.
You go for it.
Man.
I may write a letter. And tell her all about the podcast and the basement. And
I mean, shit.
How we did her story and what's Bawani up to.
I mean, I don't think we talked shit on her or anything like
Dear
that.
No, we didn't.
We all spoke of you with great fondness.
Yeah, it was great fondness.
She was great.
We would love to meet you.
Your manly voice is enticing.
Yours is a channel on Pornhub I don't visit.
She'd be like, how do they know about me?
She's that girl from
Batman. Actually, Batman.
No, what's her name? She was in like Romancing the Stone and Kathleen Turner.
Oh, Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, she has a deep voice like that.
It's a man.
But you guys had reference, which now I don't want you to forget to bring it up. Yacht Rock.
Yeah. So thank you, Matt, for saying this is it.
Yes.
If anyone out there has not yet watched it, HBO Max, now just known as Max, is offering a Yacht Rock documentary, which is DOCK-umentary, on the origins and whole story of yacht rock. This is soft rock of the late 70s and early 80s. It is phenomenal.
I gotta see it.
And as chance would have it, it is a genre of music I have been listening to for years, thanks to yacht rock.
Yacht Rock.
Yeah, I think, Zap, you and I have always been fans of this.
Oh my God,
this genre, which even before it was yacht rock, it was soft rock or soft rock, I think they would call it.
It's shit we grew up with.
Yes, it's soft rock, but it's just the story behind it, and if you ever heard of bands like Steely Dan or Toto, things like that. Just these
Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins. I was impressed with the incestuous relationship amongst the studio musicians. That there are, like, Toto is a great example. Before Toto became Toto, those guys were just studio musicians.
Yes.
There are members of Toto who have been on an estimated 4,000 albums.
That you would never know. Yeah.
You don't even know.
But they said that what 7,200 albums I think they were at with all those guys together.
It's crazy.
Yeah, from Toto, from Steely Dan.
They're just all very good musicians that like when people, we need this type player, they'll bring them in.
But that's they harken back to like music books. What was that?
Michael McDonald went back. He referenced the Harmon music books.
Yeah, Harmon music books.
Piano books.
Yeah.
This is how I look,
and they come up with these riffs from this book that they're reading, and like this stuff works. It's just
chord changes.
Yeah, it just works.
I gotta check that out.
Yacht Rock.
It's cool.
Watch it.
Yacht Rock. I want to do a documentary on Doc. Call it the documentary.
Documentary.
Yes.
Like Hawk and documentary.
We call it Doc U.
Doc U. That's right. But
it's a movie coming out on Prime Video.
Right.
Doc U.
Doc U. But dude, that was an awesome story.
Yeah,
we're wrapping up the year here near the end of the year. So we'll back with a few episodes and then some changes in the new year. We want to really dial this in and do good work. But we hope you're enjoying the podcast. You guys got anything else in closing?
No, we got to get out of here again before Mrs. Dave comes down here and kicks
she'll
us
yell
out.
at us.
Yeah. But don't forget to go on Spotify, Apple, leave us a written review, 5-star review on Spotify. Check out our YouTube channel. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram at Old Dirty Basement. And I guess that's it for now. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace. Thanks for hanging out in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is available streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We outie 5000.